if we don't communicate what our expectations are, especially as far as boundaries are concerned, then anything is gonna be left to chance.
That's right.
But babe, don't you think it is very hard to set boundaries in relationships, especially when it comes to physical boundaries?
Yes.
For this reason, I like you, right?
Yeah.
I'm attracted to you sexually.
Yes.
And one of the things that makes me want to spend a lot of time with you is because of that attraction.
Hi everyone, welcome to Life Conversations with the Kelvins.
And yes, babe, I don't know if I've told you yet, but I really enjoy having life conversations with you. I didn't realize how much life the two of us have and share until we started having these conversations.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they extend beyond the camera, that even when you go home, these conversations keep on going on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so today, today I want us to have a conversation that is going to be tricky, that is going to push us, that is going to push us to the limits of our vulnerability.
Yeah.
And the conversation is, there are many things that I enjoy out of being married to you.
Yeah.
But one of the things that stands out is that we have pure sex. Why are you laughing? Did I just make you blush? But we do, don't we?
Yes.
Because if I'm lying, you've got to tell guys that I'm lying.
No, it is the truth.
It is true.
It is true.
We have pure sex, right?
Yes.
But before we tell you all about our pure sex, I want us to take a small break. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Life Conversations with the Kelvins. And yes, we are on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and we hope you're tweeting on Twitter at Life Conversations. So babe, let me sip my juice. Today's conversation is going to be juicy.
I agree.
So, pure sex.
Yeah.
What is pure sex?
I actually got dictionary descriptions about it. Let me read it.
All right.
The dictionary says purity has two meanings.
Purity has two meanings.
Two meanings.
So you cannot talk about pure sex without looking at the word purity. All right.
Because I mean that's where pure comes from.
Yes.
Purity, yeah.
All right.
So it says purity. The first definition is free from contamination.
Free from contamination.
Yes.
All right.
And the second definition is freedom from immorality, especially of a sexual nature.
Hold on a moment. Did you say those were dictionary definitions?
Yes.
So the dictionary actually defines purity as free from immorality, especially of a sexual nature.
Yes.
So it's not just a Christian cliche.
No.
It is actually English.
Yes.
It is actually part of morality that we are expected to be pure and free from all forms of sexual contaminations.
Yes.
I like that definition. So when we begin talking about pure sex, means we have or we enjoy sex that is within the guidelines of the creator of sex.
That's right.
We don't allow contaminants to get in. Or what do you think?
You've just said on the guidelines of the one who created sex. True to it, it is God Almighty who created sex. And some writers have said, and truly, in the story of creation, on day one and through till the last day when God rested, everything that He created, He said
it was good. Yes.
So for sure, sex was inside the creation of God,
and He said it was good.
Sex is good. It is sacred. It is not. I know these days we've exposed it in very many different ways, but sex is a sacred thing. It's a sacred thing.
It's a holy thing.
Yes. It is good. It is not something that should make us
cringe.
It is a good thing. So truly, let's just finish that part. Sex is a good thing.
But then put in some parameters. It is good when enjoyed
Yes.
within the parameters of marriage,
Yes, yes.
within the marriage covenant,
Yes, yes,
not
yes.
before and not outside the marriage bed.
Just in the same way, when a manufacturer makes anything, he puts guidelines on the way how to use anything. Let's say, let's take an iron box. If we take the leaflet that usually comes with the iron box, the manufacturer says, don't put it in water.
Yes.
Or, as in he gives
Don't
us
drop it.
Yes, on way to handle it. So even God, the
Yes.
manufacturer
Yes.
of sex, has given us guidelines on how to handle sex.
I liked it when you defined the word purity. There is a bit you use the word contamination. And I think we need to bring in the aspect of contamination more clearly.
Yes.
So that as we continue this conversation, it's clear to the two of us and to all our viewers
Yes.
what contamination is, how it comes in,
Yes.
and what it does once in.
Yeah.
So I think it's time we take another short break. We'll be right back. Keep it locked at Live Conversations with the Kelvins.
Welcome back to Live Conversations with the Kelvins. Baby.
Yes.
I actually see that you have an illustration to show our viewers.
Yes. You see, when we begin talking about contamination, there's a simple illustration that we can use to bring out the idea of contamination. So here, I have a glass, a jug rather, that contains clean water.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So this clean water is gonna symbolize sex as God created it. Then I've got two glasses. These are gonna symbolize human beings.
Yeah.
Because everyone has been given the liberty to enjoy the gift of sex within the confines of marriage.
Yeah.
Then this is gonna be our contaminant. Now, God created sex and he gave it to everybody.
Yes.
With some parameters, of course.
Yes.
So the gift was the same to everyone. To enjoy.
Yes.
And then God left us to see, are you going to follow my guidelines? Now, whenever we don't follow the guidelines of God, then we allow contaminants to get in. And this is what happens when a contaminant gets in.
Yeah.
Before a contaminant, it is clean, it is healthy,
Yes.
it is actually drinkable.
Yes.
But once a contaminant gets in, something changes. As you observe, it's spreading bit by bit.
Yes.
Slowly by slowly.
Yes.
Slowly, can you see?
Yeah.
Bit by bit. And this is exactly what happens in life. And not just as far as sexual matters are concerned.
Yes.
In life,
Yeah.
when you allow contaminants to get into something that they were not supposed to get in.
Yeah.
So now, as you can see, this glass,
Yeah.
sex is still pure.
Yes.
But on this one, maybe someone has slept outside their marriage bed.
Yes.
Someone has had sex before they're married.
Yes.
A man has slept with a man.
Yes.
A man has slept with an animal. Masturbation.
Yes.
Pornography.
Yes.
All those are contaminants, and look at what they do to something so beautiful that God created.
Yeah.
Now, you cannot see through this glass, but when you look at the glass where the purity has not been affected, you can actually, it's beautiful.
Yes.
It's easy to see through.
Yes.
This is what contaminants does. They spoil the beauty of what was given to God by us to be enjoyed beautifully.
Yeah. I read another dictionary definition.
Yes.
But this time of sexual impurity. It says sexual impurity is engaging in any sexual activity outside the sex borders defined by God.
Defined by God.
Yes.
Wow. That definition is loaded.
These guidelines that God has put for us. I know our culture right now, as in culture in the sense of it, wherever we are, right here in Nairobi, different parts of this world, different cultures have affected the sacredness, the holiness of the way sex is. So the way we have allowed maybe pornography to come into the marriage setting, or even for people who are preparing themselves to get married. Pornography affects anything that is outside the confines. What we expose ourselves to, it becomes a contaminant even for sex inside the marriage setting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like when you say what we expose ourselves to. You see, contamination does not come from within. It always comes from the outside. Case in point, let's go back to the story in the Garden of Eden. God puts a garden together and he places Adam and Eve in that garden. And whatever relationship he had with them was so pure, was so right, was so intimate, that scripture says that in the cool of the day, God would come and have a walk and a conversation with Adam. This is until Adam and Eve allowed contamination to get in. What do I mean? At one point, the devil comes in as a snake and he talks to them. The very fact that they listened to someone else's voice other than God's voice was contamination getting in. What does the devil say? Did God really say that you should not do so and so? Did God really say that you cannot have sex before you're married? Did God really say that once you have sex before you're married, he can forgive you? See, that is contamination beginning to get in. And God comes after they've listened to the devil and he says, Adam, where are you? He was not looking for his position because God knows everything. He was wondering, why did you listen to someone else other than me? Why did you allow contamination to get in between our conversation? And now you did something you were not supposed to do. You see, even biologically speaking, when you eat dirty food, you've contaminated your digestive system. Either you'll have a tummy ache, or you're gonna diarrhea, or you're gonna vomit. A contaminant never brings any benefit. It always brings damage.
So I think it's wise to say that we should be careful of the things that contaminate. We should look at what culture has contaminated. We should look at it and be cautious about it. The things that we have allowed. We hear in the news about men sleeping with animals, even women sleeping with animals. And I remember in God's guidelines, the word of God, he says we should not have a man
sleeping with another man,
with another man,
with animals.
He says we should not have a man sleeping with the in-laws. We should not we should not have a man and a woman committing adultery. Even fornication. Fornication actually means the dictionary definition, having sex before you're married. So I think it is we should actually be cautious and careful to look at these things that contaminate the sex, sex,
the sacredness of sex.
Just like the demonstration you've shown here. I think truly, if we have sex that is sacred, someone can actually admire it. It's clean. You know, there's no shame
associated with it.
There's no guilt about it. I know these days we may have sex and abort the kid. So literally, someone may say, we cannot see the consequences, as we cannot see it. But deep inside,
There are
it's like
always,
you're dying.
yes,
You're dying inside.
yes.
There's guilt within it. There's shame, like
Yes,
you've mentioned.
yes. Like you've said deep inside.
Yes.
You noticed when I added the contaminant, I added it on top,
Yes, yes.
on the surface, because on the surface, sexual contact or
Yes.
sexual intercourse
Yes.
is physical
Yes.
on the
On the
surface.
surface, yes.
But watch over time,
What
the
it does,
contaminant
yes.
filled the entire glass.
Entirely.
And anytime you have sex outside the guidelines of God, you are slowly and bit by bit, allowing that contaminant, that sin, to take over who you are until it gets to a point your conscience is dead.
Yes, yes.
That you can now have illicit sex all you want.
Yes.
But then let me ask you a question. I remember when we were dating.
Yes.
You see, we cannot say we are in love or we are attracted to one another and there is no sexual attraction.
Yes.
Truth of the matter is, when we were dating, I had a desire to have sex with you.
Yes.
And what held me from having sex with you before we were married
Yes.
is because I knew it would have not been pure.
Yes, yes.
Then the question to ask is, that temptation has come. Either we are dating or
Yes.
a couple is dating.
Yes.
Or a man is married or a wife is married.
Yes.
And they are attracted to someone else.
Yes.
How do we make sure that we don't allow contamination to get in?
First, I think we have to be conscious about it in this sense. I have to agree. I have to agree with myself that I need help. If I can, let me talk about people who are married already, and I am feeling there are tendencies that I have started liking another man. If I would be true to myself at that particular time and share it, even if I'm scared maybe to share it with my husband at that time, let me share it with someone who can be accountable to me. Someone
Your best couple, for example.
Yes, yes. People that I respect, people who, when they tell me, Mako, over here, you're
Watch
doing
it.
wrong.
Yeah.
I would there would be a fear, not fear, trembling fear, but respect enough so that I would respect what they're saying. I would sit back and say, what you've said, let me look inside and see.
Yes.
And see. So if we have someone who is accountable, if you can have a marriage, even a marriage mentor, even if you don't say he's your best couple, but someone who can look at you and correct you and tell you what you're doing right here will lead you on a bad road. I think if I've noticed that tendencies like that and stop them before they have grown or gone into a bad state, I think it will help a lot for those for in a marriage setting.
Yes.
And let's say for people who are dating, like we have mentioned in earlier episodes when we're talking about dating and keeping boundaries on what to do.
Yes.
We mentioned accountability partners. I think it is way important
to have them,
to have the accountability partners, and make sure I tell them, like, okay, we're going to this place. At least let them know where you are at.
What you're doing.
It'll help us be cautious a bit, not just to allow ourselves to just
be free.
Be free
so
like that.
yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you, and I also think knowledge
Yes.
is critical.
It is.
As far as sexual purity is concerned,
is,
because
it is.
for me personally, what helped me and keeps on helping me keep our marriage bed pure is knowing that sex is a gift given to me
Yes.
to use to honor God.
Yes.
And knowing the parameters that God has set shows me the boundaries I need to make sure I do not cross. Therefore, it means, my beautiful wife,
Yes.
I have to be very careful what information I allow in.
That's right.
Because we live in a culture that is highly sexual.
Yes.
Sex is actually so commercialized right now
Yes,
that if you
yes.
want to make sales on a brand, on an
Yeah,
item, on a
yeah,
commodity,
yeah.
just bring in sex into it and it's gonna sell.
Yes.
Because lust seems to be operating so much in our lives. So what has helped me remain within the guidelines of God
Yes.
is knowing what He expects of me. We've said earlier that if you do not know the purpose of a thing, you're gonna abuse it.
Yes.
And people abuse sex because they don't know the purpose of it.
Yes.
If they knew what the purpose is, then they will be more inclined to enjoy it and to indulge in it within the parameters of what the purpose dictates.
Yes.
But now culture has said, so long as you have a condom, there's no problem. Avoid pregnancy. That's the key thing. And ladies nowadays, they are more afraid of pregnancy than HIV and AIDS. They say, so long as it's consensual, then what's the problem? You see, all this, the two examples I've given, they are not from the manufacturer of sex.
That's right.
They are contaminants.
Yes.
The manufacturer says, stay sexually pure until you're married.
Yes.
And after you're married, enjoy sex with only your spouse. The words he uses, keep the marriage bed undefiled.
Yes.
This is what defilement does. But undefiled looks like this.
Yes.
You see, baby, when God said sex should be had between a man and a wife, he was talking about commitment.
Yes.
I am committed to you, not just as my spouse, but as my sexual partner.
Yes.
That commitment makes it easy for me to say no when other ladies send advances my way.
Yes.
I always remember, I've got a faithful and great sex partner in the house. So I am not going to enjoy it outside the confines of my marriage bed.
Yes.
And I think when we begin looking at it that way, when we begin knowing the purpose of sex, it becomes very easy for men and women all over the world to keep it pure and to have pure sex like the two of us enjoy.
There's a point you said, knowledge kept you. I've been reading a book. It's called Preparation for Marriage. It's been written by Doug Fields and let me get there. There are two guys.
Two authors,
two authors who wrote it. It's actually Jim Barnes and Doug Fields. The book is called Getting Ready for Marriage. In this book, they've written, a research was done. A research has been done so they list 9 things that they've seen scientifically. Scientifically, they've seen what happens when people have sex, actually premarital sex. Let me read a few for you, so you may just see when, at least if someone gets to maybe hear it before they get in, they would actually, like you said, knowledge
go slow.
keeps us.
Stay within the boundaries.
He says, the person who wrote it points it out as a fact. He says, those who have premarital sex tend to have less happy marriages.
Whoa.
I believe everyone wants a happy marriage, He says, those who have premarital sex are more likely to have their marriage end in divorce.
Whoa.
Which,
that's chilling.
Which the maker of sex says he hates divorce.
He hates divorce.
He hates it. Because divorce is like death. Death, and you're still walking around.
It's a separation that should not happen.
You know. Let me not say all of them. It says, let me read this one. It says, poor premarital sexual habits can be carried over to spoil sex in marriage. Contaminants. Which I think it'll be very safe, not only for us, but even for our viewers, everyone. I mean, all across this world. Like my husband mentioned it before, that sex is, God gave it as a gift to all of us. That we should guard it because it's a beautiful thing. I don't think anyone can give you a bad gift. No one gives us good gifts for us to enjoy. So God gives us sex because he cares for us. He really does want us to enjoy,
to have the very best. You know, in the list you're reading, I remember you read them to me a while back, and there's one you didn't mention that I think is critical. The research also shows or says that men go slow whenever they hear the lady they intend to marry has had multiple sexual partners in the past. That no man would want to marry a lady who has highly sexually active in their
Yes.
past. And I think the vice versa is also true.
yeah.
No woman would want to get married to a man who
Yes.
slept with every other lady around.
Yeah.
And all these things happen simply because we ignore the parameters put in place by God.
Yes.
But then, babe, I think we take a small break.
Yes.
As we come back,
Yeah.
we share and we have a conversation
Yeah.
on why did God create sex.
Yes.
So keep it locked at Life Conversations with the Kelvins.
Welcome back to Life Conversations with the Kelvins. Baby,
Yes.
you left it at you wanted to tell us why God created sex. Please. What is the purpose of sex?
Good question.
Yeah.
Now, we know we have a good God.
Yeah.
And God is after us having maximum pleasure and enjoyment in life.
Yes.
Now, God created sex, one, for reproduction. Two,
Yeah.
for pleasure.
Yeah.
Three, to bolster oneness.
Yes.
Now, let me look at these three very briefly. Now, the first mandate that
Yeah.
God gave man is to increase, be fruitful, increase, multiply, and fill the earth.
Yes.
He was talking about reproduction in a sense.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that happens when two people have sex is that the male carries the sperm.
Yes.
And then the female carries the ovum. When these two come together,
Yes.
a new life is formed. At the point of them coming together, a new life begins.
Yes.
Now, in a sense, that is the reproduction beginning to happen. Now, when the two of us were married,
Yes.
we didn't have any kids.
Yeah.
All right?
Yes.
But we had sex within the parameters of God.
Yes.
And now we've got 2 kids.
Yes.
Now, children do not come from any other place other than through sexual intercourse.
That's right.
You may adopt, you may do whatever, but the genesis of that child,
Yes.
it's because a man and a woman, a male
Yes.
and a female,
Yes. Yes.
not 2 men,
Yes.
not 2 women,
Yes.
had sex.
Yes.
And then a child came through. Now, that's reproduction.
Yes.
The second thing is it's pleasurable. Now, I don't know how to explain this.
Yeah.
Not to be too graphic.
Yeah.
But there is so much pleasure
Yes.
in sex,
There
in
is.
sexual intercourse.
Yes. Yes.
And the pleasure is not just physical, but it comes from the mentality that I am doing it right.
Yes. Yes.
Now, if not being had for reproduction, God designed it for pleasure
Yes.
between the husband and his wife.
Yes. Yes.
Now, thirdly, it is to bring in oneness. Now, this is the tricky bit. When you study scripture, especially in the Old Testament, God would always use blood to seal covenants.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Even our own salvation, which is a covenant,
Yeah.
the blood of Jesus Christ was spilled to seal our salvation.
Yes.
And in the Old Testament, whenever a covenant was being entered into, an animal had to die. Whenever man wanted to atone for their sin, an animal had to die. In other words, blood had to be shed.
Yes.
Now, I listened to the late Dr. Miles Monroe teach about sex. And this is what he says. That the hymen of a woman
Yes.
is intact
Aha.
until the first time
Yes.
she engages in sexual intercourse.
That's right.
What we call virginity, right? And the first time a virgin woman has sex,
Yes.
there is bleeding. Now, in God's book, the first time a woman has sex with her husband should be on their wedding night or the following day.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So long as the wedding has taken place.
Yes.
Now, the first time intercourse takes place, there is that bleeding. And the woman bleeds on the man.
Yes.
That is the sealing of the marriage
the
covenant
yes.
between the husband, the wife, and God
Yes.
as the witness.
Yes. Yes.
Because that covenant has been instituted by God. He has to witness it. Now, watch this. When anyone has sex before they are married and they bleed, that bleeding is only once.
Yes.
It therefore means when they get married, they've got no blood with which to seal their marriage covenant.
Yes. Yes.
And I was listening to Dr. Miles talk on that, and I was literally shaking. And I was saying, I wish everybody would understand the magnitude and the seriousness of the hymen.
Yes.
And of making sure that that we have sex rather within the parameters of God.
Yes.
So watch this. When we have sex within the parameters of God, 3 things happen.
Yes.
1 is reproduction. Number 2, pleasure and lots of pleasure. And then number 3, oneness is bolstered every
other
time
yes,
a woman has sex with
yes,
their wife.
Yes.
Now, the reverse is scary. You have sex outside its purpose. Several things happen.
Yeah.
Shame and guilt. And in the movies, maybe to use this as an example,
Yeah.
a scene comes on screen,
Yes.
and the characters are having sex. You will notice they bring it very passionate.
Yes.
They are literally fighting to take each other's clothes off,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah.
They fall on the table, blah, blah, blah. Don't ask me what movies I was watching, right? I wasn't born in church. I was born in this world, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
They are literally fighting to
Yes.
take clothes off each other. And then they have sex.
Yes.
After having sex, they don't dress each other up.
Yes.
The lady will walk away, maybe dress up in the washroom, and the man will be left either on the bed. Why? Because the shame involved
Yes.
and the guilt of knowing what I did was wrong.
Yes.
And the sad thing is, as it happens in the movies, it is the reality of what is happening on the ground.
That's right.
That young people as young as 10, 11 years old
Yeah.
have been so saturated with sexual contaminants
Yeah.
that they literally fight to take clothes off each other. Have 5 minutes of illicit pleasure.
Yeah.
Tell each other they love each other, but they don't.
Yeah.
Actually, when you have sex outside the confines of marriage, you shouldn't tell your partner you love them.
love them,
You should tell them I lust
lust.
after you.
Yeah.
Because that's not love, that's
Yeah.
lust.
Yeah.
Now, the shame and guilt. Number 2 thing that may happen, you may contract a disease.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
STIs. We've got the monster, HIV and AIDS.
Yeah.
Thirdly, you may get pregnant. Maybe this pregnancy was not planned for,
Yeah.
was not wanted.
Yes.
Brings in the issue of now the option to abort. Abortion is as a result of people having sex outside the confines of God. Of course, there is a medical side that
Yes.
probably you are terminating it to save the life of the mother.
Yes.
Not the subject of discussion today.
Yes.
But 99% of abortion cases are because someone got pregnant and they did not want that pregnancy.
Yes.
Now, let's compare these two. Sex within the confines of God.
Yeah.
Reproduction,
Yeah.
pleasure,
Pleasure.
oneness.
Oneness. Yes.
Outside, guilt,
Guilt.
shame,
Yes.
danger of disease,
Yes.
abortion comes into play, which is literally murder,
Yes. Yes.
taking a life.
Yes.
Why does this happen? Is it because we are evil? I wouldn't say so. I will just say we have decided and opted to allow another source to tell us how to have
do
sex,
Yes.
and not the creator of sex.
Yes, yes.
Now, not just that, my beautiful wife. When I was in high school, I got into wrong company, and
Yes.
one thing led to the other, and I was introduced to pornography, and by extension, masturbation. The two are twins; they're identical twins.
Yeah.
If you're hooked to pornography, one way or the other, you're gonna
you
masturbate.
Yeah.
And for close to 7.5 years,
Yes.
I was hooked. Video clips,
Yes.
novels,
Yes.
pictures,
Yes.
audio files, and they placed mental images in my mind. And I would say, once I get married, everything I have seen. You see what pornography does?
Yeah.
It changes a woman or a man into a sexual object. Then it gives birth to masturbation. Now, the message masturbation sends is there is no need for a sexual partner. I can have sex alone.
I can satisfy.
I can satisfy myself.
My feelings. Yeah.
And the worst thing about masturbation, it is very addictive.
Yeah.
Once you get used to it, walking out is an uphill.
Yeah.
It took me 7 years. I was prayed for.
Yes.
I was cancelled.
Yes.
I was prayed for again.
Yeah.
7 good years. Story for another day.
Yes.
Premarital sex sends the message there is no need for commitment. I can have sex with anyone.
Anyone, yeah.
All these things, including rape. Now, rape sends a message I do not need consent.
Yeah.
I can have it whenever, so long as I'm strong enough to overpower a man or a woman.
Yeah.
All this happened because the parameters and the guidelines of God are being ignored.
Well, you were talking about why we should keep in the confines of God. One of the things I've noted, you mentioned 10-year-olds who are just having sex because of what they've been watching
and exposed to.
They've been exposed to.
Yes.
And I thought if not for any other reason, we who are ahead of these kids, we should take care of sex and keep it pure.
Yes.
So that the younger generation, the people, the 10-year-olds that are looking up to us, actually see, so this thing is...
This is how it's supposed to be.
This is the way it's supposed to be. Because as for now, generally all across the world, it's like we've demonstrated that sex is, it's
there's
not
nothing
a thing.
sacred about it.
It's
people move in and start living together and having sex before they're married.
Yes.
It is not the order of God.
It's like it's we are trying out something. So if it works, okay. If it doesn't work, it's okay. But truly, I think we should really think about this thing, that because they are guide. It's not like it's out in the air that we don't have things to guide us on.
Yes.
There are guidelines.
There's a manual.
There's a manual already. So even if we have strayed so far away, we can actually come back. We can actually come back.
I like what you're bringing forth because probably one of our viewers is asking themselves, you Kelvins, I've slept around so much. I've already bled. I'm no longer a virgin.
Yes.
So what do I do? The thing you begin doing is you practice what we call secondary virginity.
Yes.
That you commit from this moment, moving forward. You're going to keep yourself sexually pure by not engaging in any sexual activity.
That's right.
By sexual activity, we mean kissing.
Yes.
We mean fondling.
Yes.
We mean watching stuff that arouses you sexually.
Yes.
You do not expose yourself to any sexual activity until you're married. So whatever you watch on TV, whatever you listen to, whatever you talk about, anything that entails sexual activity. I mean, if you're in a relationship, kissing, fondling, showering together, whatever, anything that denotes or has a sexual connotation to it, you desist from it. Whatever is from the neck upwards, let it remain covered until you're married. And as you do this, you begin rebuilding your walk with God, and you get back to that bit whereby you are now ready to enjoy sex with the holiness, the beauty, the sacredness of the way God created it to be. So I'm glad that hope is still there. It's still there. Yes. Hey guys, welcome back to Life Conversations with the Kelvins. We hope you are following us on Facebook, on Instagram. Hope you're tweeting on Twitter, and hope you've subscribed to our YouTube channel. And unfortunately, we are coming to the end of our show. But as we close, we have a question for you. Contaminated sex or pure sex? Which one do you want? The choice is yours.
And babe,
yes.
So how do we remain sexually pure before and after marriage?
And after marriage. I think that should be our next sex conversation.
Yes.
See you next time on Life Conversations with the Kelvins.